Good evening and a very warm welcome to your platform, Speak Out India. I'm Akshay Khanna. Tonight we're going to be discussing Chief Minister of Gujarat, Narendra Modi, and the question we're putting out is his isolation since 2002 finally coming to an end? A visiting US congressional delegation has invited Gujarat Chief Minister Modi to the United States. This comes as a shot in the arm for Modi, who has been in the firing line of the US ever since the 2002 riots. The invite comes despite the fact that Washington has denied him a visa since 2005 because of deadly religious riots. The invitation is like a symbolic victory for Modi, who is termed by many as a popular but divisive Hindu nationalist leader harboring prime ministerial ambitions. Narendra Modi is on a high after winning the state assembly elections for a third successive term. Gujarat Chief Minister seems to hardly put a foot wrong. Modi has been trying to cultivate an image of a statesman, something which will make the road smoother for him to come 2014, and now with the US delegation praising the Gujarat Chief Minister, things certainly look better than before. Well, Modi's opponents have alleged that there is a lobby that works for projecting Modi's secular image. Well, if that's true, then that lobby is certainly doing many things right. That brings us to the focus of this evening. Has Narendra Modi come out of cage? Has he won an important battle, and has his international acceptability increased with the US invite? Our telephone lines are open. The questions we're asking you tonight on Speak Out India are: has Modi's international isolation finally come to an end? Will a US recognition increase his national acceptability? Is this a victory for Modi's NRI lobby? Joining me on this debate tonight are Dr. Ejaz Ilmi, political analyst, right here in the studio, and in a few moments from now we'll also be joined by Mr. Jagadish Shettigar, who is a senior leader of the BJP. Before I go to Mr. Jagadish, who joins us in a few moments, I want to begin by asking Ejaz, clearly this is a shot in the arm for Narendra Modi, but do you think with the UK embracing him a few months ago, and with this delegation now visiting Gujarat and sort of inviting him to the US, his path for 2014 is clearing up?
You know, let me just correct, or let me just take some air out of the balloon that you're spinning today.
All right.
Is that he's got an invite. This is a personal invitation from Republican congressmen who, when asked whether is this a US administration invite, they said no, we will work on the US administration to reverse the position which they had in 2005. So the US state policy, the State Department has not reversed their earlier decision of not granting a visa to Mr. Narendra Modi, which, I mean, forget the fact that it was correct or wrong. They have no business to interfere in our affairs. But the fact is, there's no stated change as far as US State Department is concerned. So this is an attempt by the NRI lobby, by friends, overseas friends of the BJP, and a section of the Republican senators who are trying to bat for Modi and work on the US government and the State Department to reverse their position, to get an official invite. Modi can, once he gets an official invite where the sanction against him is over, then he'll be welcomed in the US on a valid US visa.
Alright, so you're going on the technicalities that lie ahead, but as you said, if we are spinning a balloon, well, trust me, the people who are helping us spin that balloon are doing a good job, Ejaz. I'm going to go across to Mr. Jagadish Shettigar. Would you agree with what Ejaz has said, sir?
No, first of all, I'm not really able to understand what you are debating.
We're trying to debate, sir. Has Modi's international isolation come to an end?
No. And why? I mean, who should be bothered whether he is isolated or not? I mean, he is a leader and he has been elected for 3 times. And it is for the others to recognize his leadership and his popularity among the people. Now, if somebody, whether they grants visa or not, it is up to them. I mean, the Modi is not the loser by not getting the visa. In fact, the people...
No, but on the grounds on which he's been denied visas are enough for the world to see why those visas are being not granted to Modi. I'm going to come back to you, Mr. Shettigar. I'm going to come back, sir. I'm going to come back. I want to go across to a few more points of view. I'm going to come back to you, sir. Let me go across to Bhaskar Basu calling us over the telephone line from Shillong. Go ahead, Bhaskar.
No, actually, I've been listening so many... Hello?
Yes, Bhaskar, go ahead. We can hear you. Make your point.
So I've been watching all these programs personifying political leaders having doubtful antecedents.
Yes.
And derogating the moral or ethical characters of the populace, what is the point of discussing all these hocus-pocus political leaders?
All right.
Why didn't you do something for the constructive?
Are you clearly saying that Narendra Modi is one of those hocus-pocus leaders?
Yeah, definitely. I am dead against of this kind of Mulayam Singh, this man, Mamata Banerjee.
Okay.
All these
Politicians across party lines are hocus-pocus is what you're saying. Thanks very much for that point of view. Let me go across to Karunakar joining us from Visakhapatnam.
मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? हेलो
जी बोलिए.
कौन सा बड़ा चीज है इसमें बुलाने में उतना एक्साइटमेंट क्यों हो रहा है लोग?
Okay. All right. Okay. Let me go across to Salim joining us from Srinagar. Salim, make your point.
Hello.
Yes, Salim.
Well, sir, my point is to every Indian, whether it is Narendra Modi or Manmohan Singh ji or anyone else, don't trust these Englishmen. They are all fraud persons. It is better to make good relations with your neighbors rather than going abroad
Okay.
to anyone else.
All right. Thanks very much, all of you, for calling in right now. Of course, the lines are open. We will take more callers. But let me go back to Ejaz. Now, Ejaz, we heard these different voices coming in talking about Narendra Modi. I want to understand, will a US recognition that Modi just got will increase his national acceptability?
You know, it's just the media will go gung-ho about it. Some of the BJP leaders will say that he has greater acceptability. But don't forget, he's accepted 3 times over by the people of Gujarat.
Yes.
He's got resounding victories by the people of Gujarat. If he emerges in the political sweepstakes as the face of the BJP, then the nation will have to take a call on whether they have to elect a leader like Narendra Modi. Good or bad he signifies, and only when he gets the stamp of the people of India will he be relevant on the national scale, and then we can actually discuss his visa issue.
You know, that's the point, Mr. Shettigar, that everybody is trying to make, that, you know, when you talk about Narendra Modi's victory and the work that he has done, it's only limited to the state of Gujarat. Has the nation forgotten what has happened? Will the nation really accept him further if he is made the prime ministerial candidate's face for the BJP?
No, technically that is a fact. I mean, he has been, contesting the assembly election in Gujarat and getting elected, and through his leadership, the BJP has come to the power for 3rd time. I mean, it is a...
Nobody is taking that away, sir. Mr. Shettigar, nobody is taking that away from him.
It is a technicality.
Absolutely.
It's a technicality.
It's a reality also.
Now, with that, you cannot conclude that he is not acceptable for rest of the country. And in fact, it has to be tested. If that is the case, now what about Dr. Manmohan Singh? Has he been tested? He has not been tested even a single constituency. Now still he is the Prime Minister of India.
So are you in a way agreeing that he will be the Prime Minister if the BJP does come to power? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, that I am not able to comment on that. That is the leadership has to decide at appropriate time. We will decide, depending on the strategy.
Okay.
Now, as far as this...
Well, the strategy for Narendra Modi is working really well as of now. If that's the strategy,
as far as this question is concerned, he is not acceptable outside Gujarat.
Yes.
So my question is that, how can you accept Dr. Manmohan Singh as the leader of the country when he has not elected even a single constituency?
Would you like to answer?
Well, Narendra Modi has won 3 resounding victories in Gujarat, and he's done very well for himself. The fact that he's not been tested outside Gujarat is a reality, it's not a technicality. And the fact is, in states like Karnataka, where Yediyurappa wanted to emerge on top, he did not let Modi come. In Nitish Kumar in Bihar said, I don't want Modi. He put Narendra Modi in Parda and said, please don't come to Bihar.
Absolutely.
So he has been tested in large states where population figures are twice, thrice, 4 times Gujarat.
So that's the question. Is his popularity only limited to the state of Gujarat?
Only if the BJP puts him on the forefront as a face, and then national elections take place on that issue whether Modi should be Prime Minister, and if he emerges on top with a stamp of the government, of the voters and the polity, then his acceptability will be known.
Okay.
Right now it's in the realm of possibilities.
Okay, I'm going to go across to a few more callers. Let's see what they have to say to the questions we're asking tonight on Narendra Modi. Let me go across to Mr. Vijay calling from Chennai. Mr. Vijay, express yourself.
Yeah, first I want to congratulate NewsX for giving a common man a place to say something.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Go ahead.
It's more important that what common man thinks and what we need as a common man. We need a stable platform. It's no matter whether it's a Congress, it's a BJP or who's the leader.
Okay.
It's main important who give us development, who give a growth to us, who give a sustainable platform for a country in 2014. What happened in 2002 or what happened in different places or what Mr. Manmohan Singh is doing or what Chidambaram do or what all the political leaders are doing today to just show
Got your point.
a common man what is not a picture.
Got your point. It's about development. If that's the basis on which we have to elect the next party, well, and the next prime ministerial candidate, I think, Ejaz, we know how well Narendra Modi would do, if that's the only parameter we have to go by. But I'm going to go across to one more caller before I come back to you. Mr. Vim Vuruman joins us from Assam. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Actually, I see Mr. Modi is a very tactful leader. Actually, he now being invited by the US counterpart is a great honor for him and also for the country as I see it.
All right, thanks very much. Let me go across to Geeta Raman, who is joining us from Noida.
Yes, I want to say that basically he's a democratically elected leader.
Sure.
3 times a chief minister.
Sure.
So what is the issue about? Actually, I feel the nation has to say and say, no one can tell, the government has to say that no one can tell the chief minister that you will say that you cannot come here or you cannot go there or whatever it is.
All right, thanks very much, all of you. Thanks very much. Of course, the lines are open. More callers can call us right now, but I want to go across to Mr. Jagdish. The Congress has come out today and made a few statements about this entire US delegation coming forward and meeting Narendra Modi. They have said it is the friends of BJP delegation, it is not the US delegation, it is BJP's delegation. House of Representatives, 3 members are visiting Gujarat. They have come in their individual capacity. Both political parties in the US are opposed to Narendra Modi. What would you like to say to the Congress?
There are, the political leadership was there. It was not that overseas BJP was there. The overseas BJP might have, interacted with them, and quite possible that, here also the different embassies interact with the different political parties, and there is always a relationship between the political parties and the diplomatic level.
Okay.
And quite possible that in the US, the overseas BJP might have been interacting with the political leadership in the US. Now, maybe as a result, or I do not deny that.
Okay.
Quite possible that, they might have seen the good reason, and that doesn't mean that.
So you're not denying that these could be the friends of the BJP, as you started off saying.
Yes, but what is the negativity?
Jagdish, that's all right.
Yeah.
If the friends of BJP want to call him, it's perfectly all right.
Yeah.
What I'm concerned about is that the US state policy has to reverse its earlier decision of 2005 of putting sanctions and denying Narendra Modi a visa because of his role or perceived role in the 2002 riots.
Yes.
That change hasn't happened, and I'm hoping that change happens, because even when they put a ban on him, he wasn't elected chief minister. It should not have happened. In this scenario, once the US policy, if they've taken a decision, they have to reverse that policy, and then we can get excited or upset with the fact that the US senators are coming here and inviting. It's not an official invite. Let the official invite come.
No, okay. Now let me talk. Are you, concerned that he's, are you advocating the case of US, or are you, interested in the case of the country? Let alone Narendra Modi. Whoever may be the chief minister of the country or the cabinet minister of the country.
Yes.
If he is not treated well outside the country, we should be concerned about it. We should be ashamed of that. We should be angry about the issue that it is. Let us not forget about
But what about the alleged role or the taint that person carries? That's what is actually being recognized overseas, and that's why he's being denied. Absolutely, is what my point. I'm going to come back to
even about the allegations. Now about his role, so-called the role.
Alleged role.
Alleged role. We all say alleged role. I use the word alleged.
Alleged role.
And that is something that has been keeping in mind. That's why he's being denying entry.
First of all, it has to be.
But good for you, good for the BJP. There is sort of a reversal. The UK is also embracing him. I'm going to come back to you, sir.
But even about the allegations, why only to 2002? Why not, talk about the 1984 when the leader of the party defended the event, saying that when there is a fall of this banyan tree,
Jagdish, no chief minister of India or independent India or the Prime Minister has ever been denied visa by US. Only Narendra Modi.
That is whatever sir done extremely embarrassing. I'm going to come back to both of you on Speak Out India. I want to go across to India. Mr. Jagdish, I want to go across to India. I want to go across to India.
So you attack.
Let me go across to Dr. N.A. Khan joining us from New Delhi. Dr. Khan, go ahead.
Actually, I just want to make a comment that, why do we need a certificate from America, US, to reflect on our leaders, whether they are right or wrong? One should not forget that Mr. Modi is the same person who was called as modern day Nero by none other than the highest authority, Supreme Court in India. Supreme Court of India remarked him as the modern day Nero. And that qualifies him what he is. So I don't think he qualifies to be.
And the electorate of Gujarat has given an answer to that. Well, thanks very much, Dr. Khan. Let me go across to Usha Rao from Bangalore. Ms. Usha, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Tandon.
Good evening.
I feel very strongly about this, and please give me a minute to say what I want to say. Okay?
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, the West is now slowly realizing, after 11 long years, that there is no point in boycotting Modi anymore. He is a democratically elected leader who has won elections in Gujarat 3 times in a row. And you know, with Gujarat emerging as a model state under the able leadership of Modi, which is development mantra, the West, that is Europe first and US now, they see tremendous economic opportunities in the state of Gujarat, and so they have started warming up to him. And they also see a possible future Prime Minister in Modi, and it is natural that they are making overtures to him now, you know.
Okay.
The West needs Modi more than Modi needs the West, you know. And it is only the Congress, the Indian National Congress, with its pseudo-secular policy and, you know, and its myopic view and vote bank politics, it still considers Modi an untouchable. Congress
Usha, got your point. Got your point. You're saying this is just about finger pointing towards Modi. I've got your point. Thanks very much. I'm going to go across to Javad joining us from Mysore. Go ahead.
This is Javad from Mysore.
Yes, go ahead.
Now the picture is very, very clear. After demolition of this Babri Masjid, BJP came to power.
All right.
Okay. And after Bombay riots, Shiv Sena and BJP combined came to power. And Mr. Thackeray gets state salute when he dies. Let him be, let God give him...
We've got your point, the point that you're trying to raise. We've got that point. Thanks very much, Javad. Let me go across to Mr. Jha from New Delhi. Mr. Jha, go ahead.
Hello, boss. Give me a second. Mr. Modi has to stop talking about minority or majority. The second largest majority are Muslims. 20 crore population cannot be ignored unless he has an agenda. About the 20 crore population of India.
Now, what's the point, Mr. Jha, before we wrap up your call? What's the point, Mr. Jha?
My point is that Mr. Modi's acceptance by US or anyone else doesn't matter. What matters is the acceptance by 20 crore, second largest majority of the country.
Right, Mr. Jha. That's the point I'm going to actually put across to Ejaz in just a few moments. Thanks very much, all of you. Lines are open. Keep calling us and giving us your point of view. Ejaz, the last caller, Mr. Jha, they're making a very, very pertinent point. It's not about just Gujarat. It's about the other larger population.
You know, I've been talking about this for a very, very long time. You have to talk about all sections of India. And the Indian Muslims who happen to be 170 million, that's 17 crores. If you keep them out of the development paradigm, you don't speak about their problems, if you look at them as a minority, you are in trouble. They are part of the larger deprived majority. And the BJP and its various leaders must understand that you cannot keep a large section of Indian citizens out of their political discussion or discourse unless you have something for them. Then if they don't look at you, you're starting with the elections where at least 17% or 20% of the voters are not looking at you as a viable option.
Yes.
So it's the BJP and its leaders and Narendra Modi to reach out to all Indian citizens, irrespective of what religion or practices they do.
How would you respond to that, Mr. Jagdish? I'm coming to you. Rustam, please stay on the phone line, calling us from Srinagar. I will come back to you, Rustam. Stay on the phone line. Mr. Jagdish, a response to what Ayaz has just said.
No, as far as whatever we have been practicing in Gujarat is concerned, I don't think that the minorities or the so-called minorities are unhappy with the BJP government. Now, as far as the micro issues are coming, whether it is the water through the Narmada, the project.
Okay.
No, cannot be any discrimination.
When you talk about minorities, I want to ask you, why did Nitish Kumar not let Narendra Modi come ahead?
One thing. His development is very, very good. I'm agreeing with that. My other point is, why has Mr. Narendra Modi in the last 12 years as Chief Minister not visited Juhapura, one of the largest slums, which has 5 lakh Muslims staying out there, and which doesn't have nalas, roads, and everything is in shambles. So this development should be across the board. Why has he left out Juhapura, which is in the heart of Ahmedabad?
Let Mr. Jagdish respond.
No.
Rustam and Sagar, I'm coming to you. Stay with us.
That is what I have been trying to explain. Whether it is the question of the distributing the water or distributing the electricity, which is the part of his development model? Has there been any discrimination between the Hindus and the Muslim? Now, I have been seeing in the TVs or through the other media, even the Muslim businessmen telling they are very happy. I mean, except one or two family which were involved in the 2000 riot victims, 2000. Otherwise, practically,
I'm going to let you respond. I'm going to let you respond to about the families. But let me go across to the callers on Speak Out India. I'm going to come back.
See, we are also. How can we keep any section of the society? Getting elected is a one thing. The governance is the different thing.
I have last 3 minutes on the show. I have to let callers give their point of view. So just give me a moment. Let me go across to Rustam, who's been holding on the line. Rustam, go ahead. Rustam, reduce the volume of your television set before I come back to you again. Sagar from Mumbai, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Sagar. I'm calling from Mumbai.
Yeah.
See, as far as Mr. Narendra Modi is concerned, he has always been called that he has done so much wrong with, he is called that he is not a secular person, but now people started realizing that he is a secular person, he is a democratic person. Now he is looking after development of Gujarat, and Gujarat is far much ahead of other states as far as development.
Sagar, nobody is taking that away. Nobody is taking that away. That Gujarat is a developed state, really. But I want to go across to Ejaz, who wanted to make the point about the families being ignored. And Mr. Jagdish saying that's not the case in the state of Gujarat.
You know, there are a couple of examples. I mean, it's very easy to say that we discriminate against none. Narmada water reaches everybody, electricity. But don't forget, there were special scholarships announced by the centre, matric cum mean scholarship. Gujarat was the only state which denied these scholarships to poor Muslim girls and students. Secondly, Juhapura, which has about 5 lakh Muslims, poor Muslims, forget the rich industrialists and the businessmen. I'm talking about the common man, the Aam Aadmi, the poor average Muslim, and majority of them are poor. Why did Narendra Modi not visit Juhapura once in the last 12 years? Now, for the first time in Shahpura, which is another big slum, you have one school coming up. Why is that most of the money in Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, which is controlled by the BJP, also, why does these enclaves or these pockets of these ghettos which have large Muslim populations, why are they left out? Development should be a sweeping brush across the state.
I'm going to go across to Narayan on that point. Narayan, go ahead from Mumbai. Make your point.
The point which I want to make is that Mr. Modi is giving a new shape to the politics in India. It's development and politics.
Okay.
So what we need to understand is it's not about the 0.2 billion Muslims in India. It's about the 1.2 billion Muslims. So it's all about development and politics. So for me, I vote for people who are wanting India to develop. We are wanting to develop infrastructure and so many opportunities in India.
All right, thanks very much all the callers. Dr. Ejaz Ilmi, Jagdish Shettigar. One thing is very clear tonight. Most of the people who have called tonight are saying it's not about the West giving a certificate to Narendra Modi, but it's about the country at large that has to accept the leader that the BJP would like to make the face of the Prime Ministerial candidate. Thanks very much both of you for coming in, all the callers. We have some other breaking news coming up next on the other side is News X debate at 9 with Jujhar Singh. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend ahead.